Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement. And I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement.
Iran and U.S. were close to a deal until these four conditions destroyed everything. Pakistan was shocked. That is not an opinion. That is what Pakistani officials said directly after J.D. Vance boarded his plane and flew home without a deal. Their exact words, there was a perception in Pakistan that the U.S. and Iran were close to the general formula of a deal when they met face-to-face at the Serena Hotel on Saturday night. Iran's own foreign minister Abbas Araghchi said the two sides had reached the brink of a memorandum of understanding, an actual written agreement, and then it collapsed. He wrote publicly, when just inches away from the Islamabad agreement, we encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts, and blockade. Inches away. After 21 hours of the most consequential negotiations in 47 years, the two sides were inches from a deal. And then four specific conditions blew it apart. And within hours of the talks collapsing, Donald Trump announced a full naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's negotiator responded by posting a map of gas prices near the White House, telling Americans enjoy your current gasoline price, because with this blockade, you will soon miss $4 to $5 gas. Today we go through every single condition that destroyed the deal one by one, because understanding this is the only way to understand what happens next. Before we get to the four conditions, let us first establish exactly how close this came to succeeding, because the mainstream narrative is simply talks failed. The reality is more complicated and more alarming. Iran's foreign minister Araghchi described it as the most intensive engagement between the two countries in 47 years. He said negotiations had progressed to the brink of a potential memorandum of understanding. A memorandum of understanding is not a peace treaty, but it is a written document that both sides signed saying we agree on a framework and a process. That was reportedly on the table. Iran's foreign ministry confirmed the two sides reached mutual understanding on some issues, meaning there were things both sides actually agreed on. Both sides agreed on a format for future negotiations. There was movement on partial release of frozen Iranian assets. There was a possible understanding on limiting Israeli strikes in Lebanon to the south only. The White House said most points were agreed to. Trump himself wrote on Truth Social the meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Most points agreed. One deal-breaking point left, and that one point plus three others destroyed everything in the final hours. The first and most fundamental condition that destroyed the deal was nuclear weapons. This is not new. This has been the core issue in every U.S.-Iran negotiation for 20 years. But in Islamabad, it became the absolute wall. The White House spelled out its non-negotiable parameters after the talks collapsed. America's position was this: